Back on the Put on Raiders podcast, Dwayne, Douglas, Ryan Holmes. Raiders are 5-2. That's always a good way to go as far as going into that bye. Get healthy, hopefully they can get some people back. Second half concerns. We kind of talked about that in our previous podcast with Matt Holder. Well, what are some of yours going forward here?
Well, number one for me is keeping Derek Carr healthy. I think that's the biggest concern for this team. I think they're going to play good enough defense to stay in games and give them a chance. But if anything were to happen at the quarterback position, I think that put a huge dagger in the season. Because right now he's carrying the offense. He's making all the plays with his arm. He's doing all the checks at the line. It looks like he's setting most of the protections, getting it, and he's spreading the ball around. If they had to change everything up and go, if he gets hurt, and not saying that Mariota can't do the job, but I think it completely changes the offense. But I think this team's best chance right now is to get a lead, get up in games, and let those pass rushers eat. I don't think they want to get in a slugfest with a team where they have to run the ball and keep the games close.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's just like, I don't know if I really have. I'm not gonna say I feel comfortable about a Raider team, because that's hard to say that you feel comfortable about a team. But I just feel like, this isn't like the last 2 years for me, because I always felt like defensively we didn't have an identity, we didn't have a pass rush. We didn't, they stopped the run just enough. I mean, will there be games where where it matters where they stop the run to the point where it could give them a loss? Maybe that could happen. But right now, I just feel really comfortable about, like, I know what to expect from this defense. Maybe they give up that first touchdown, and after that, I mean, there's going to be a period of time in the game where the Raiders get stop after stop after stop after stop, where they get 4 or 5 stops in a row. And the question is, for the opponent, can you stop this offense from scoring points during that time period? I mean, and I just don't know if I just don't. I'm not saying they're unstoppable offensively, but I feel like they're going to get to 28. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, against most opponents. Now, when they go to MetLife, it's going to be, if it's blustery and cold and kind of crazy weather, which can be what can happen in New Jersey. And that's possible, but I think even defensively, they're still going to be able to play defense in that moment. That's going to be the question when they go to Cleveland, when they go to New York. Can they run the football enough to make it, to make it a close game there? That's my concern. Maybe is like those two cold weather games, but I mean, listen, they've had good luck with Cleveland in past years. And you look at the Giant team. I know everybody's going crazy because the Giants beat the Panthers. Let me see them do something in Kansas City before I really say that elevate the Giants. I am worried about Leonard Williams, who I would love fight on to be a Raider at some point in his career. But him against Andre James, I love to see the chess game that they do against these really talented defensive coordinators, defensive linemen, especially the interior linemen. I know Graham, the defensive coordinator out there, is a guy who is going to be up for some head coaching opportunities here, because what's wrong with the Giants and what Joe Judge is doing is an issue, but what he's doing on defense, people do like. So we'll see what happens there. But that's kind of my concern. We'll have to see what happens as far as that goes. AFC West, I think it's pretty clear. Denver's done. They're making trades for linebackers. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. Your thoughts on the Broncos here? As we kind of take a trip through the AFC West real quick on the as far as that goes. I mean, I think they are what we thought they were. They're going to be the last place team, right?
Yeah, you can just roll the Dennis Green clip. They are who we thought they were. The Broncos are going to finish 4th place in this division.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater's come back. Their 3 wins were a mirage at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
They're banged up at the linebacking core. They should get Bradley Chubb back here, but that secondary is not playing anywhere near what everyone thought they would.
No fly zone.
They're going to get Jerry Jeudy back, but they just still don't have the answer at quarterback. So to me, the other 3 teams have separated themselves from the Broncos in this division.
Yeah. The Chiefs, I'm going to say it, but people don't, I mean, what's going on with Patrick Mahomes is, I'm not saying Newt Rockney and yell and scream or try to do a Lou Holtz and grab him by the face mask, but it's like sometimes you got to tell the quarterback to just listen, run my play. If there's 3 dudes on Tyreek Hill down the field or Hartman, and they're giving you a check down, you need to be on schedule, keep us on schedule, and then take the check down. I mean, that's what he has to do. And if he continues to keep doing what he's doing now, I mean, I'll be happy with it. But I don't think Andy Reid will. I mean, this is the issue. I mean, they have to run the football as well. I mean, they're giving you run looks, you got to take them. They're giving you looks where they want you to throw the ball underneath. You got to take it. Maybe they should have traded for Zach Ertz to maybe help out and give them some two tight end looks or something like that. Because right now those speed guys down the field, Ryan, are just the coverage is not dictating that they're going to be open.
Yeah, I'm not ready to put dirt on the grave of the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, they're 2 games out, and there's plenty of games left to go. They got the Giants this week. They got the Packers before the Raiders, so we're going to learn a lot about them when they play. They line up. They play Green Bay at Oakland.
Stretch.
I'm sorry, at Las Vegas, then the Cowboys.
Well, 1 second. They play the Packers, Raiders, and Cowboys
3 weeks in a row. Yes. And then they got Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, Steelers, Bengals, Broncos. So they still have the Bengals on their schedule too, down later in the year. But
last game of the year, yeah.
This team could get on a roll. I'm not ready to bury Patrick Mahomes. They still have Travis Kelce. They still have Tucker. But if that defense doesn't stop anybody, it's not going to matter. But if you peel back the layers, Kansas City is still number 1 in the NFL in points per drive. The problem is they lead the league in turnovers. So you would expect that to regress back towards the mean here at some point. So they're going to stop turning the ball over, and they're going to start scoring points at a high level. But they're going to have to get in shootouts where they're going to have to score 35 to win with the way that defense is playing. So are they going to win the division? I don't think they are, but to write them up for the playoffs at this point, I'm not ready
to do that. Yeah, I think you're going through that schedule. That what they do in that 3-game stretch is going to be their season. I think because you go. I mean, they already have 2 losses. They have 4 losses already. So if they go one,
they lose 2 out of 3.
They lose 2 out of 3. That's 6 losses already. That's 6 losses right there, as far as that goes. But yeah, I'm not counting him out. I just don't. I'm interested. This game this week. Let me see them 45-10 the Giants. You know what I mean? You're playing against Daniel Jones. There's no reason for them. They're playing at home. It's not even in New York. So this is an opportunity for them to kind of flex their muscle and then kind of show the league that they're back, get to 500, and then make. And you know what? Go ahead and make the Raiders beat you. If the Raiders are going to kind of make their claim to be the best team in the division, the game's in Las Vegas. You won there last year. Go out there and beat them. And I think that'll be the key to your season. Those 3 games are brutal. I mean, is the Packer game in Kansas City?
It is, but it's on a short week because they're playing Monday night. So it's a home game on a short week. Then they go at Las Vegas, and they turn around and play the Cowboys at home. So luckily for them, 3 of their next 4 are at home. Actually, 4 of their next 5 are at home. The only away game they have in the next 5 weeks is at Raiders.
At Raiders, so we'll see.
And then they go at Chargers after that.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there as far as that goes. And then we have the Chargers who go to the bye. They had a bye week this week. They play the Patriots in SoFi this week. The last time we saw them, they got blown out by the Ravens. So we'll just see what's. I mean, the Pats are going to try to run the football against them. I mean, they haven't stopped the run well this year, so we have to see if that continues, that trend continues there, or if they can force Mac Jones, who they put up 54 points against the Jets. 2 out of the 3 victories they have are against the Jets, and everybody's acting like this was, Joe Montana.
And we can do this. Let's do the same thing with the Chargers. Let's just look at the schedule. The schedule breaks in their favor very well. So if they can get through this week against the Patriots, they play the Eagles. They get the Vikings at home, the Steelers at home, then they play the Broncos. At the Bengals is going to be tough, but then they get the Giants. The Chiefs they get at home because they've already played them on the road, and then they play the Texans and Broncos, finish up against the Raiders. So if they can get through this week, there's only maybe 3 or 4 games the rest of the schedule where you can see that they're going to have pretty good fight from the other team. Now it is the NFL. Any given Sunday, any one of these teams can step up and beat them. But to know that they still have the Giants, the Texans, the Eagles, the Steelers on their schedule is nice for them.
Yeah, so things could break right. That schedule last year is kind of coming through for him as far as that goes. I did have before we go on to the rookie report. I did have a couple. We have a new. I want to shout out. Let me see if I can shout that out real quick. Let's go to share screen. Let's go here. Just really quickly, I want to shout out Dan Dub, a new subscriber. So thanks for listening to, thanks for watching the show on YouTube. We appreciate that. So I always want to shout out some of the new subscribers. It's something I want to try to do whenever we get a chance. And I think we got one more here. Let's go to, and I think we got one more. Let's share that one. Boom. All right. So we have from New K16 Arnett needs to be traded. Gus won't use him. I don't see him. I don't want to see him on the field again. Trade him for a corner or a linebacker, period. He needs to go, period. Love my Raiders. Thanks guys for doing what you do. We appreciate that. And then Alex Fitzgerald Jr. Carr was totally in rhythm, throwing the ball fast. That was the big reason there was not much pressure. But yes, the line seemed to play better. So keep those coming. We also have some questions from the text line as well. So thank you guys for that. We did talk to Matt Holder about some of the rookie reports. Let's just roll right through it real quick. Leatherwood. I would probably give him, position change. I feel like I still want to give him an incomplete right now. I don't know if I want to really get a kind of grade Leatherwood just yet.
Well, I'll put a grade on it for just, let's say through 7 weeks. I'd give him a C- at this point. I think he's been, I don't think he's been what everyone was hoping, clearly. Has he been terrible? No. To me, instead of what drops him from a C to a C- is just the penalties. He's got to clean up the false starts and the holding penalties. If he can get through this season and give you, just be an average or close to average player as rookie year, I think they're fine with that. It's going to be the growth for him over the next year. I want to touch briefly on that trade Arnett. They can't trade Arnett. I'm looking at the numbers right now, and they would take an $8 million cap hit to trade Arnett. He's not going anywhere. So he's going to be on this team. And I agree with the last caller. Derek Carr got the ball out quick. It was the game plan, the short to intermediate passing game. For some reason, the Eagles let them do that, and the Raiders, for their part, just kept dialing it up, and Carr kept finding the guy and hitting him. So I think Parker did struggle a little bit in this game. It was covered up, kind of on the play calls. You saw them help a lot. You saw some chips from the tight end. You saw Hunter Renfrow doing it. You saw the back doing it. So I think, and they know they have to help him, and good for them, because there are offensive coordinators around this league that would leave a right tackle out there to die and just keep giving up sacks.
That
At least the Raiders help
yes, him. Yes, and that acknowledgement that you just spoke about it is that's why they're in a better spot with its coaching staff, right? I mean, they need to help him. It does kind of a little bit hurt the passing game because you would love to have the offensive line just be able to just block everybody up front and send everybody you want out in the pattern. But if it takes Brian Edwards or Hunter Renfrow just to hit them on their way out, then hey, whatever it takes to keep the quarterback clean, that's fine. Moreg, here I will say, I almost kind of in this deal with the way they play defense, I almost feel like he's almost like the goalkeeper. So like you never hear the goalkeeper or the goaltender in hockey. You don't hear his name into the balls to the puck or the balls in the back of the net. I think I've been seeing the ball go over his head. I think he's been pretty. I think when I've seen him on film, it seems like he's done a pretty good job back there. I'd probably give him a C. Right now, I'll give him a C plus right now. I don't want to go like crazy overgrade, but right now he's doing his job. I think that there might be some plays coming up for him where some games coming up for him where he can make some plays in that secondary because people are going to try to throw the deep ball regardless. They're going to just say forget it, we got to try something down the field. Can he make plays on the ball and get interceptions? That's what I want to see from Trayvon Morig.
I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to go B plus. Okay. I think to run this defense, they need this kind of player that can keep the roof on the defense and take away the posts and the deep balls down the middle of the field. I think he's done a great job of that. The tackling has improved.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me is when they do bring pressure, he has shown the ability to play man coverage in the slot. So he does allow them to play quarters, cover one with some blitzing. So there is some versatility there. He's not making it. There's not a ton of ball production here. You had the interception on the overthrow, but I would much rather have that than have the Reggie Nelson who gets 5 picks and he's chasing 15 guys to the end zone because he's just gambling and cheating on everything. So I love the way he's playing. I love this player. I love watching him on film. So I'm going to go B plus. I think there's a bright future ahead, and I think he's played really well for a rookie.
Yeah. Kuntz is just going to be incomplete. He has not played yet, and he's going to be. I mean, he's just not. I mean, he's just not ready as far as I'm playing it. We talked about Levitt being on the field, and we're not seeing Gillespie or Diablo. So maybe they want to take some time with that. We did see Diablo kind of miss that coverage as far as the in the overtime. I think it was overtime of the Miami game.
Dolphins game.
Yeah. Dolphins game, yeah. So thoughts about Diablo here and Gillespie.
I'm gonna go the other way on Diablo. I'm kind of disappointed in him. I know he was hurt in training camp. Mm-hmm. To me, he hasn't shown up on special teams. And I thought a player, a 3rd-round draft pick, a guy size, speed, can run, can hit. He did show a little bit in that Dolphins game, but did miss some assignments, which is to be expected. But I just haven't seen the contribution on special teams that me personally was hoping we'd get from him.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'd say like D plus, C minus, somewhere around there.
Me too. Yeah. I was looking for a C, but I was looking for a C minus on that one. Gillespie.
Gillespie's kind of, he's flashed a little bit the last couple of weeks on special teams, but the fact that he can't wrestle some playing time away from Dallin Levitt,
worries me.
Even Roderick Teamer, who's been okay, but and he's clearly behind Diablo in those packages as well. So the only time he got on the field was when Merrick missed 6 snaps. I don't know if it was the Dolphins or the Bears game. I think it was the Bears game, but again, I know he's a rookie, but he needs to show up on special teams. He's just been okay there and hasn't been able to work his way into the defense. So I'm going to say probably C minus on this one as well.
Yeah, I think I got to kind of ride with that one as well. And then Morrissey's not there. Who is anybody else we're missing?
Hobbs.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Nate Hobbs, 5th round.
Sorry. Sorry, Nate. My bad, cousin. Because you're my dog right there. So Nate Hobbs, I definitely. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me in this and seeing him in the slot and when teams try to run the football, just seeing his ability to avoid the oncoming blocker and then tackle somebody for a loss or just a 1-yard gain. And he does it consistently. He does it all the time. I mean, he's a fun player to watch on film. I think what he's doing is pretty, even in pass coverage, he's been really good as well. And the play. I think I don't know if his name is Hilton or Hinton, whatever his name is, the wide receiver / whatever for the Broncos on that play where hitting the way they on that crossing pattern on that for long 4th down, he was able to just the way he got beat across the receiver went across his face, but the fight to just make up the ground and still try to get the ball out and almost, he was. Some angles look like an interception. Some angles it look like his knee was down, but just that fight, he just seems like he fights for during every single play, and I definitely appreciate that part of it. No plays off for Nate Hobbs, and me personally, I give him I probably give him I gave him A minus right now. It's high. I know I'm probably missing something. I know maybe I'm looking, but I just feel like the way he is. He looks like a veteran when I watch him. When I watch him play all the time. I'm sure it's a little too high, but I right now I'll give him A minus.
Yeah, I'd say the value is A plus, 5th round starter.
Oh yeah, no question.
I'm gonna go B plus on this one as well. This one for me was tough because he does show up on special teams. He shows up on kick coverage. He shows up on punt coverage. He hasn't given up a touchdown this year, but when you watch the film. He's not asked to do a lot. He's in the slot. He does have some run fits. He does have to work inside as a linebacker at times based on the shifts and motions of the offense. But in pure pass coverage, he's not playing a lot of man-to-man. When he had to against the Bears and Allen Robinson, he got beat a few times. He's basically just, playing underneath coverage in the slot. He's basically just playing, the middle hook or the curl flat, depending on where he's. So he's not playing in the deep part of the field. So it's tough for me to go higher than B plus. I want to say he's playing great, but he hasn't really been tested because they're not asking him to do a lot. And that's just the way this defense is built. And he's not one of the back three players that are playing in a cover three. And really, the last couple of weeks, the Raiders haven't varied from cover three. You saw a little bit in the middle of the season where they ran some cover four, some cover six, some cover seven. But until we see him play more man coverage and get tested, I can't get to an A yet. But let Ron Miles and Gus Bradley pick all the DBs, because if they can find Nate Hobbs in the 5th round and they can do what they've done with Trayvon Moehrig and what they've done with Jonathan Abram and what they've gotten out of Casey Hayward or Brandon Faison, who they pulled off the practice squad, he might be the best corner other than Samuel for the Chargers. And now he's playing for the Raiders. So I just can't get to it. The value is an A plus, but overall as the player and what he's producing on the field, I'll go B plus.
Cool. Let's hit some questions real quick. Justin, Coach B, what does he have to do to stay? I mean, listen, I think it's really simple. We got to keep doing what he's doing. And then also if he makes the playoffs, and especially if they win a game in the playoffs, and we're talking about maybe, a Bills Raiders AFC Championship game or something like that. I think that, I think it goes a long way for him keeping his job. I think there will still be a search, but I think what he does do is he allows his team to play with joy. It sounds crazy, but you got to deal with you're dealing with young people now, and this is the Y generation. You can't just grab them by the face mask and tell them how to do something. They're going to ask you why. And when you have the rule with the iron fist with John Gruden, you have the Jack Del Rios, people like that. I mean, you have to be able to communicate with these players now. And I think that, you see what Brandon Staley out there in Los Angeles. I think he's allowing this team to live through their quarterback, and the team is responding, and they're responding very well. I mean, they're not missing a beat. Lose Waller, lose Jacobs, and they're good to go. What thoughts about that? First question about what would it take for Coach Bisaccia to be able to stay on as the interim to head coach?
This is a tough one for me because I think it's going to take. They need to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Let's say they get to 11-6 and they miss the playoffs. That might be good enough, but at minimum, I think they need to get to the playoffs. Be competitive in the playoff game. They can't get run out of the building.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think he needs to win over the locker room, which I think he's done a good job. But he needs these players on the team to go fight for him. And now I fully expect Mark Davis to go outside the organization, interview candidates, find out what's out there. But knowing what they have in Rich. And to me, this is kind of like everyone's, I think, overreacting to the last 2 weeks. You have to look at this from a 30,000-foot view. He can get them through this rough patch, but what is it going to look like over the long haul? Can he sustain this level of play, this level of coaching? What happens when they go on a 2-game losing streak when he's the head coach? We don't know. Can he make those adjustments? I have no idea. What does he do if Derek Carr gets hurt? What does this team look like with Marcus Mariota or some other, let's say Colt Miller goes down? What kind of adjustments? How is he going to – his decision-making really, clock management hasn't come up because they've had leads in these last 2 games. Mm-hmm. How does he handle the 2-minute drill, the 4-minute drill? What is he – just stuff that's going to come up in game situations that we just don't know about yet. So I think there's a lot that goes into this. I think the players galvanized. I think the locker room came together, and it's making him look a lot better than he might be. But maybe he is this kind of communicator where everyone rallies around him. Yeah. I just don't know. I can't say yes or no what it's going to take in a 2-game stretch. But I do think they do need to make the playoffs. So this team's 5-2, and they end up 9-7 or 10-6, and they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I don't think he comes back.
No question about it. I think there's no question he's gone as far as that goes. This is from Robert G. I know this person, and he's just so this is just when I saw it coming through, I was like, this is somebody I know, and because he's a big Josh Jacobs guy. He asked me why I don't like Josh Jacobs. It's not that I don't like Josh Jacobs. I just for me, it's being available. Hopefully he can be available again. Looks like the chest injury wasn't a big deal. I think my biggest thing with him is availability when he plays. We all know how good he is. And also it's about where I can never get over where he was drafted. It's always going to be a problem because I think there's a myriad of reasons why running back shouldn't be drafted in the first round. But that's just, that's just one of the reasons why. But I know you like Josh. I'm not a hater of
I like
Josh
Jacobs.
I like Jake. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just okay with Jacobs. I don't know.
I like
Jerome,
him right now. Ask me when they have to give him a second contract in 2 or 3 years, and then
yeah,
I'll revisit that question
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
going to depend on how much it costs to keep him around.
Yeah, and also, at that point, maybe looking at a third round back, maybe a younger guy, maybe taking that spot. Jerome wants to know: did you listen? Did you ever? Oh, did Olsen ever? Did Gruden ever listen to Olsen? Because the offense looks so much better. Jerome from A58 from San Diego. I just feel, I don't. I mean, right now there's no tape on Olsen, so I don't want to get too giddy about it. I just feel like it's just free flowing. It's almost like when I was thinking about this today. It was Uncle, could you show me that video of Mark Trestman? It's almost like when Gruden left the other time. Like, it's just like all of a sudden they became a little bit more. They had good players, but they seemed like they were a little bit more explosive in the passing game, right? I mean, they scored a lot of points that year after he left. So and went to the Bucks. So what are your thoughts about Olsen again, like just being more creative a lot of times than his predecessor?
Yeah, this is tough to answer. Did Gruden ever listen to Olsen? We don't know. We don't know what their conversations
Yeah,
were, but
it
clearly
kind of,
stuff in the
yeah,
offense has changed. They've
yeah.
incorporated play action. Now, do we know if Greg Olsen was pounding the table telling Gruden run more play action? I have no idea, so I can't answer that. But clearly,
Yeah.
he's made changes to this offense for the better.
Yeah.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Oh yeah.
Gruden had to play the Ravens and the Steelers, and even at the time, the Dolphins had some exotic defenses. And I mean, the Eagles don't have the best defense in the NFL.
Mm.
The Broncos are the no-fly zone. Not really. Teams are throwing against them. So, but let's see what this offense looks like when they play the Bengals. Let's see what it looks like when they play a team that has a pretty good defense. Let's see what it looks like on the road in Cleveland. Let's see what it looks like the next time they play the Chargers. But clearly Olsen has made some improvements, and he deserves credit for that. But it's tough to answer that question.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Sam isn't a Raider fan, likes the show, wants to know what we think. What we think about the Rooney Rule. I think in a perfect world you wouldn't have to have it, but I think I'm not sure. I mean, to be clear, I don't know if you get Mike Tomlin or you get like some of these people. I don't think you get some of these coaches if you don't have it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but yeah. In a perfect world, you wouldn't need it. They would just look at a group of candidates and hire the best guy. I don't know if they're not forced to look at GMs and look at. Look at what Andrew. We always focus on head coaches, but look what Barry's doing in Cleveland. I mean, he's doing a great job in Cleveland. So I mean, and if you go back and kind of peel back the layers and look at what Reggie McKenzie did with the Raiders, was he that? I mean, I don't know if he was kind of that bad anymore. So I mean, he had a team. He did have a team with Cooper, Crabtree, and Derek Carr. Derek Carr was drafted in the second round. On top of that, too, I mean, Mario Edwards was Mario Edwards a draft pick by second round pick by him. I mean, he's still in the league playing well. So, Danico Autry was that? I mean,
undrafted free agent.
Undrafted free agent. Jalen, it wasn't. Was Rashard was that from that group too, right?
Yeah, he also drafted DJ Hayden.
Yeah,
I mean, like Watson. I mean, go down the list.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be
Jahad Ward in front of Derrick Henry.
They're going to be some bad ones in there. But I'm just saying. I mean, it's you're going to find some people in there who don't do it. But I mean, he did find some stars as well too. But I mean, also, Jerry Reese did a good job with the Giants. He's not around either. So I mean, who knows about that? But yeah, so. Like I said, I mean, I'm not sure how far we're going to go into it, but I just feel like, I mean, it's a perfect world, you wouldn't need it, but I think just giving the best people the opportunity. I think the NFL is also doing stuff where I think helping people prepare for those interviews as well too. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. I'm not sure.
I do. I agree with you. I think in a perfect world you don't need it, but we don't live in a perfect world. Clearly, I think there's not a lot of avenues for minorities to get into positions where they, even at the college level, you don't see a lot of head coaches. So I think it helps. And we've learned through this Washington football investigation what these owners think behind closed doors and the conversations they have. So this might be the only way that the minorities even have an opportunity. What I don't like is the token interview. Hey, we have an African American coach. Winston Moss is on our staff. We're going to interview him.
Yes, yes,
I do
yes.
like today, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere today that did make a change to the running board where
Yeah,
you have to interview an external minority. No longer can you say
yeah,
we
exactly.
interviewed our DB coach, we're good, let's hire
Yeah,
John Gruden.
yeah,
Like, so now they're forcing teams. Not only do you have to interview minorities, they have to be outside the building, which I
yes,
think is a good step in the right direction.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
as you mentioned, Raheem Morris doesn't get a job without it. I
yeah,
don't think, like you said, Mike Tomlin's secondary coach doesn't get a job.
yeah,
So we'll see. It can only help at this point, I think. But
yeah.
I think now that we've moved past the token interview, where it's like, hey, you're in our building, we're going to interview you, but we don't really want to hire you. I
Mhm.
think that that's a positive step.
Yeah, I mean, there are just as many. I mean, for every Tomlin, there's a Singletary. For every, for
Yeah,
every Belichick, there's a Ray Hanley. Like
Adam
it's
Gase,
Adam Gase.
Rich Kotite.
Rich Kotite. Like there's always. Sorry, Jets fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always Mike White. So like to me, just I mean, go out there and do your best. It's hard to find a good head coach. So, but like but I think the thing about it too is like when you see the retread guys, that's the hardest one to swallow. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, why not give somebody a new opportunity? Because and it's all about also a big thing about being head coach is being able to who can you bring on as a staff. So like when you have those meetings, I think that's one of the first questions they get too. So like who can you bring on as a staff? So that's pretty crazy. As far as that goes. I mean, it's gonna be hard. It's hard to build a quality staff. I think the Raiders probably finally have a really quality staff, especially on the defensive end. It seems like everybody is just together on that defense with Miles and Gus Bradley. Anything else before we?
No, I think that
No.
that covers this week. The Raiders are on a bye. Clearly, I think that they're going to get DJ Fluker up to speed here pretty quickly. They're going to. I expect them to make some changes to the roster. You saw them add a tight end to the roster. Daniel Helm, who I believe was with the 49ers in training camp. So clearly, they think Nick Bowers is a long-term injury, along with Derek Carrier. I don't think they expect either one of those guys back this year. So we'll see. I think they're going to tinker. To me, what I'm looking at, I've circled next Wednesday. Any of these injured guys, does Nick Morrow, does Javin White, Arnett,
Mm-hmm.
Mullen, or Cognito, any of these guys practicing, or are we still looking another 2-3 weeks down the road? So that's the next thing for me is and figure out which one of these guys are coming back. And when they do, the Raiders are going to have to they have some tough decisions here to open up, 4 or 5 roster spots.
Yeah, no question about it. Pick time. So I got these 6 picks in my notes so I don't forget. Because I've been forgetting, my notes. So I'm gonna go first real quick. The Bengals are favored by 9.5 over the Jets. I'm gonna see if the Bengals are grown up. If they're a grown up team, they win this game going away. You're facing who's it? Mike White. This is the quarterback now.
Mike White, yeah.
Mike White's the quarterback now. So they should, with that defense, with Jamar Chase, with all those weapons they have, T. Higgins and company, all the running backs they have, they should be able to beat the Jets. Covering 9. I'm also going to see if the Chargers are a grown-up team. The Pats are dink and dunk. They can barely. They're not a great offensive team, despite what you saw last week against the Jets. They are playing the Jets, so I'm going to go with the Chargers to win that game by 5.5. And I love the Vikings in this spot. I know how good the Cowboys are, but the Cowboys will play enough games against bad teams that I feel like when they play a good team and they play this team here with the Vikings, they're going to be able to the Vikings are going to be able to kind of win a close one, maybe like a 28-27. Or actually 20-27 because the Cowboys are favored, would do just fine here, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm going, and you took my Cincy picks. I'll go away with that. I'll pick different games than you. I'm going right to Thursday night, and I see value in the over 49.5 Cardinals Green Bay. That number is coming down due to Devontae Adams not playing, but Arizona's averaging like 30 points a game. So I could see a shootout here. Getting over 49.5, I feel pretty comfortable. It's indoors. Weather's not going to be an issue. I think both teams can go up and down the field. Surprisingly, I believe Green Bay, I read somewhere, is like 6-0 the last 2 years without Devontae Adams. Like, it doesn't matter if he doesn't play. They have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I'll take the over in the Green Bay Arizona game. I do like the Chargers as well. I have the number at 4.5 where I'm looking at. I think they cover that. I'm still not a Mac Jones guy. You know, I watched that game last week. The Jets are terrible, and he was just throwing screen after screen after screen after screen.
If they win this one, I'll give. If you win this one, I'll give
Trust
them
me,
props.
I hope they win it. I'd love to see the Chargers. Yes. I just don't see it. I'm going to go away from the Cincinnati game, like I said, since you picked that. I'm going to do this. I can't believe that on this podcast I'm going to do this. I'm taking the Fighting Dan Campbell's. The Detroit Lions, 3.5-point home dogs. They fake punts, fake field goals. They brought out all the stops last week. And I think the team's starting to play a little bit better. And the Eagles are coming to the 10. The Eagles are beat up. They don't know what they're doing. They can't run the ball. Miles Sanders is hurt. Jalen Hurts is a 50% completion percentage the last few weeks. They don't play much defense at all. Yeah. If Detroit's going to win a game, it's going to be this one at home. And I have the hook. I have the half point. So they can lose by a field goal. It doesn't matter. So give me the Detroit Lions plus 3.5.
The Detroit Lions. Here we go. I love it. I can't wait for this one.
They're going to win a game. They'll win one game this year. This one. They'll lose like 34-10 just because I did that. But
yeah, they'll make Wayne Fonts proud. As far as that goes, and then I love the names, the random Raider names we bring up on this show. I think I had Sam Grady last week. Yeah. Menelik Watson. Watson.
Drop that one on you.
That's a good one. Who did the Raiders take before Derrick Henry again? Was that
Jahad Ward?
Jahad Ward.
The first pick before him.
Yeah, I could hear that whole conversation between him and Del Rio about that one.
Bill Musgrave apparently was all in on Henry, but Reggie McKenzie was like, "We have Latavius Murray." That didn't work out very well.
It didn't work out very well at all. All right, Raider Nation.
No Raider game to pick this week. They're on a bye.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's great. All right, thank you. Hold on. We'll see you next time, guys.